What's up, Jolinator Club? Alright, so I hope you guys have seen Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by now. I'm really sorry that I haven't done this video for like a couple weeks at this point. It's been like 2 weeks since my review, but I have some free time on my hands and I'm finally doing my review. I've just been really busy, guys. I'm sorry, but yeah. So, like I said, this is my spoiler talk for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and that is my official disclaimer. Spoiler alert. If you have not seen Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, please turn this video off, unless you don't care about spoilers. As for the rest of you, welcome. Alright. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a different spoiler talk than the ones I've done for movies in the past, because I'm going to be talking about specific spoilers rather than just going with the movie in order, and I'm just going to be talking about some of the specific plot details, some of the specific things that happened in the movie, and my thoughts on them, and you guys can feel free to let me know in the comments down below whether or not you agree with me. Now, before I officially get started with the spoiler talk, I just want to let you guys know it is no secret that if you've been around with me, if you've been with me for a while, then it's no secret that I am a firm supporter of the Star Wars saga. Star Wars is my favorite franchise of all time. So, ever since Disney announced that they purchased Lucasfilm and that they were continuing Star Wars back in 2012, ever since then, I was on board and I'm like, alright, I'm ready. So, I don't know if I'm biased in any way because of that, but I'm just letting you know. Now, that's nothing against the people who don't like these recent Star Wars movies. If you don't like them, that's your opinion, that's alright, that doesn't bother me. However, with all of that out of the way, let's jump right into these spoilers. So, let's talk about the first one, which is the one thing that everybody, myself included, was wondering what they were going to do, and that is the Emperor. Okay. In the opening crawl for The Rise of Skywalker, the first sentence is "the dead speak," and then it opens up after the opening crawl with Kylo just killing all these people, and then you see the Emperor. So I don't quite remember exactly how the Emperor survived or whatnot, because it's been a while since I've seen the movie. I guess I probably should have seen it again, but regardless, I do think that that was actually a clever play on their end to bring the Emperor back as kind of the antagonist, because he's basically the antagonist of the entire Star Wars franchise. So, I thought that it was an interesting idea, and the way that it was done, again, I don't remember, but regardless, it was definitely cool to see him. And there's also another thing regarding the Emperor that I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. The next thing I want to talk about, this one I honestly think makes a lot of sense because it involves Leia. Okay, actually two things about Leia. First of all, for those of you who don't know how they did Leia in this movie, her scenes are actually not just a CG Carrie Fisher. Actually, what happened, it was revealed before the movie was released that all of Leia's scenes were actually deleted scenes from The Last Jedi. So that's actually where they got all of Leia's scenes in this movie. But anyway, it was revealed that Leia was Luke Skywalker's first apprentice. That makes sense. And later on in the movie, her lightsaber is given to Rey, and of course ultimately later on Leia does die and become one with the Force. But I thought that that was fantastic because, okay, like I said, Leia being Luke's first apprentice, that makes sense because, well, she's his sister and whatnot. But also, Leia has the Force. She always has. Okay, now, granted, we all know that Luke has the Force because he's a Jedi and whatnot. But even though we don't really see Leia wielding a lightsaber in this movie, with the exception of, like, flashbacks, we know that she does have the Force because if you've stuck with this franchise for a while, it was established in the original trilogy that she does have the Force. You can tell that she felt it as she was thinking certain thoughts. So I thought that was brilliant, and I really loved the way that was handled. Back to something else regarding the Emperor and, well, more or less the Emperor and Rey. And that is the fact that Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter. Okay, I honestly did not see this coming at all. But I have to admit that for what it was kind of interesting, but then kind of not. Now, it was interesting because, well, for one, I didn't see it coming, and two, my original theory was that Rey was going to be Luke Skywalker's daughter. Granted, I'll talk about that whole thing towards the end of this video, but I feel like one of the reasons that they did that was just to give Rey and the Emperor some exposition, and I don't really know if that was really necessary. Now, granted, they do reveal the backstory of Rey's parents, how they were taken away from her, and that definitely added some more layers to her character, in my opinion. So, for that reason, I can give that a pass. It was, I don't know, I'm just kind of halfway on that one. Now, let's talk about the lightsaber duel between Rey and Ben. Now, granted, this lightsaber duel isn't my favorite lightsaber duel. It is far from it, but that doesn't mean it's not entertaining. It is very entertaining. However, the one thing about this that really just hit me and I did not see coming, I could never have expected this, was Harrison Ford appearing in this movie. Now, granted, I think this was Ben having a Force vision. This wasn't like Han Solo in Force Spirit form because Han doesn't have the Force. But I thought that this was absolutely brilliant. And granted, I don't know how much Harrison Ford was paid to come back, but it was worth it because it was just a joy to see kind of a Force vision of Han Solo, like right there talking with his son, and it was great. Now, on the subject of Force visions, I want to talk about Dark Rey for a moment. We saw Dark Rey in the trailer, and when I first saw that, I was just like, what? But ultimately, it just proved to be a Force vision, so I can dismiss that. That's okay. Regarding the whole Final Order thing, I honestly have to admit that when I saw the advertising for this movie, you know, you see Kylo Ren, and then behind him there's a bunch of red stormtroopers, and when I first saw that, I was like, what is with these red stormtroopers? Why are they red? And are they going to replace the First Order stormtroopers? The answer on are they going to replace the First Order stormtroopers is no, but in all honesty, the Final Order doesn't play that much of a role until the climax, so for that reason, I can roll with that. Also, I just want to mention another character that I just thought had some awesome stuff to do in this movie was Lando. So, I just felt like throwing that out there. Before I get to the whole climax and the final fight, I just want to talk about Luke for just a minute. The whole scene between Rey and the Force vision, or not Force vision, but Force spirit of Luke was just a beautiful scene, and I might have almost teared up. I don't quite remember. Again, it's been a little while. But I thought that was a beautiful scene, and in all honesty, Luke being a Force ghost, that did not surprise me at all. I could see that coming from a mile away, even when he died at the end of Last Jedi. So, I wasn't surprised when I saw that. I was just like, that's gonna happen. Let's get to the climax. Okay. Ben is now redeemed, which I was super happy for. And the whole climax, the conflict between the Emperor and Rey, was nail-biting, it was white-knuckling, and I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. I was like, oh my gosh, what is she going to do? She uses the Force to call out to the spirits of the other Jedi, and you actually do hear the actors' voices, and they even worked in Ahsoka Tano in there, Ashley Eckstein, so that's pretty cool. Granted, I didn't hear Ahsoka's voice, but if any of you guys did, let me know in the comments down below, let me know what she says, and when I watch the movie again, I'll see if I can listen. I'll see if I can hear her. But, you know, you hear Obi-Wan, you hear Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. But anyway, the whole way that the climax ends with the Final Order and whatnot, the Resistance is just destroying them, and then Palpatine says, I am all the Sith, and Rey goes, but I am all the Jedi, and then just the way Palpatine dies, just his flesh just coming off, I was like, oh my gosh, that is awesome, that is so satisfying. And that really made it worth it in the end. Let's talk about the ending scene. Alright. This just left me on a high note, with one exception that I just want to discuss. And I'll get to that in just a minute. Well, actually, I'm going to get to that now. Rey goes back to Jakku, and basically she sees the Force spirit forms of Luke and Leia, which, by the way, seeing Leia as a Force ghost, that was pretty cool. But am I the only person who wanted to see Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Anakin again? Tell me that I'm not the only one. Granted, if they even added Qui-Gon in there, I would have been satisfied. I just felt like that would have added more closure as well as just some more fan service, but granted, I guess they just wanted to go with Luke and Leia because they were Rey's mentors and whatnot, so I can work with that. But the final line in the movie is when Rey is talking to this person, and like the person asks her, what's your name? And she goes, I'm Rey. And then she goes, Rey who? And that's when she says, Rey Skywalker. Granted, I know that in the movie she's Palpatine's granddaughter, so it's technically Rey Palpatine, but I know what they were going for. At heart, she's Rey Skywalker, and that I thought was brilliant. So, in the end, guys, if you thought that I thought The Rise of Skywalker was flawless, first of all, no film is flawless. You could really pick apart any movie you wanted to, and there were a few things that I liked/disliked. I thought that the first maybe half of the movie started out a little bit on the slow side, but I was still on board for it. Then once the final order and climax, right before that, right before the whole climax goes down, halfway through, I was on board, I was ready, and I was there, and I absolutely loved it. Also, you see Rey ignite her lightsaber, and it's yellow. And there are reasons to the different lightsaber colors existing. If you want to know more about that, as well as just if you want to know some more awesome stuff about Star Wars and you want more Star Wars videos, I'm going to put the link in the description for a YouTube channel called Leia's Lair. Awesome channel for any Star Wars fan, so I highly encourage you to go check out that channel, send them some love, because it's just great. So in the end, guys, I still had a blast with The Rise of Skywalker. There were a few things that I disliked, but I still had a great time with it. Let me know what your thoughts about the specific spoilers were in the comments down below. And on the subject of Star Wars, next week I'm going to be reviewing Jedi Fallen Order, and then after that, we'll just see what I feel like. And I'll just go forward into the new year. I do have a series of reviews planned for you guys, so I hope you guys will look forward to that. I'm not going to announce it just yet. But, like I said, post your thoughts on spoilers for Rise of Skywalker in the comments down below. Thank you all so much as always for watching. You guys are the best. And if you like this, like, comment, favorite, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so you'll be notified about all my videos, and join the Jolinator Club. Just boom.